Plenty groups still dey talk on the February 25th election as everybody get different mind on top the matter. Some group and some people don salute INEC for the process and dem don also accept the result, but some others say make dem cancel the elections. The group wey say make dem cancel the election believe say the election get some kind thing wey no clear and the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) no keep to their promise. Emmanuel Nweke, wey be the national president, Vote Count campaign organisation, dey among the people wey wan make dem cancel the election. Im tok say na the same thing wey former INEC chamos dem use na Professor Yakub still use.
INEC, in its estimations, in its reasonings and application of the Electoral Act, never followed the Electoral Act. The Electoral Act was practically dumped. There was no reference as regards the decision of INEC in interpreting the Electoral Act of 2022. So for instance, I keep on telling people, all those involved in the electoral process, whether the presiding officer, whether the returning officer, whether the collation officer, all of them, one way or the other, contravene the Electoral Act. The Electoral Act, in its real sense, is for Nigeria to have a transparent election. It's for Nigeria to witness a good election. The introduction of bimodal by the same INEC is for us to have a transparent election. But what happened after February 25th was just a similar attitude of what had been happening in Nigerian previous election. We have been observing election date by 1990 date. The pattern Professor Morris who used is the same pattern Professor Jagal used, is the same pattern Professor Mahmoud have equally used in this election. We were actually thinking that Professor Mahmoud would have departed from what had been happening before in Nigerian election, but that was never seen. As a matter of fact, as I've said before, that all those involved in electoral bodies, one way or the others, contravened the Electoral Act. As a matter of fact, this election should be cancelled. A fresh election should be instituted. Forget about what it takes, the amount of money it's going to take. We have individuals and international organizations that can even help Nigeria to get it right. Look, let me tell you one thing. It is always expensive to get something wrong, but it's lesser to get it right.
Francis Anacho, wey be APC collation officer for Obio Akpo Ward 2, tok say e pain dem for the kind thing wey happen for the election.
It was disheartening for us to experience what we experienced. INEC promised us that elections results will be transmitted at the polling unit. But surprisingly, no one result was transmitted. We did everything possible at the polling unit to upload the results. It was difficult. And the irony of the whole thing is that the SPOs who ought to be at the collation center, none were seen anywhere around the collation center.
Musa Seidu, chairman Arewa Consultative Forum South tok say the election dey free and fair and make the president-elect and im vice show Naija people say Naija no get any religious problem.
This election has been averagely conducted. As I see this election, I saw that Nigerian electoral system is improving, and let us give a kudos to INEC and the president for giving us a free hand to conduct an election that ushered a democratically elected president. There must be critics, but I think this election is a bit fair. There was a protest by Christians that it was a Muslim ticket. So we want the president and his vice to prove to Nigerians that we don't have any religious problem. Religion will not divide us. We are Christians, we are Muslims, and we believe in God.
Rivers State Coordinator for Bola Ahmed Tinubu Support Vanguard, Pat Vanguard Tony Okocha tok say Naija people go get better share for Tinubu government.
Speaking from a personal view, I feel very elated because when you put hard work, you will require nothing else other than victory. We have done very, very, very beautifully well in this state, campaigning from local government to local government, hamlet to hamlet, and all of those. And then at the end of the day, as a result coming out of it. So I feel so highly elated. And I want to say that Nigerians will have a good show in Tinubu as president of Nigeria. And I say that without missing words. My support for him wasn't because of the name. My support for him was because of what I read over time about him and his prodigies in Lagos. I used to be a visitor to Lagos, and then I knew how Lagos was before he became governor in 1999, and how Lagos got transformed from a dungeon to center of excellence. And for such a person, not saying to any Nigerian that he was called up to come and serve, to say, look, I want to be president. And I feel that it's wonderful.
From Rivers State, Taiwo Ayeni, TMC TV News.